morning, everybody. Welcome to Going Nuclear, full-blown coverage of the Land, part of the Land Multimedia Group. I'm Ethan Greenberg. Alongside of me are my co-hosts, Mike Pellegrini and Drew Hagenbaugh. It's been a hell of a week. Guys, how are we doing this evening? Mike, what's happening there? I guess it's top of the morning to you. How you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm just ready for some Stanley Cup playoffs and a bit of softball World Series Championship Series between the defending champs Texas and Texas Tech in a rematch of last year's final. So,
yeah, amazing how that is happening once again. It was a hell of a battle last year. Drew, what's up, man? How you doing?
Doing good, man. You know, getting ready to enjoy my 3-day weekend coming up. So I'm excited. Gonna relax, hang out, chill. It's gonna be a great time.
Oh, well, aren't you lucky? You and your 3-day weekend.
Absolutely.
I'm very, very envious of your 3-day weekend. You bastard guy. So it's been a heck of a week in Cleveland sports. Obviously, the big story, which we will get to here momentarily, is the Myles Garrett trade that hit us like a ton of bricks on Monday. Felt like this isn't going to happen. This just happened. But we'll get to that momentarily. There will be plenty of time to go over that, to discuss that. I think we should start on a positive note here. Let's talk a little bit about Cleveland Guardians baseball, guys. After the Guardians looked kind of crap during a homestand against Washington and Boston.
Yeah.
They go to New York, where they've struggled to take on the Bronx Bombers, to take on the Yankees. Now, granted, no Aaron Judge. And the Guardians held their own, and more so. I mean, they won 2 out of 3 games. They only lost 2-1 today. They were right there. They just couldn't get a hit off of Carlos Rodon today. They got, in the words of the immortal Bob Uecker and his character Harry Doyle on Major League, we got 2 goddamn hits. You can't say goddamn on the air. Doesn't matter. No one's listening anyway, which is kind of like this. So, guys, what do you make of the Guardians, the results in New York, and what they're kind of mounting at this point in terms of players finally starting to break out of some slumps, it looks like?
I mean, if you told me we're going to take 2 out of 3 in New York, I would have said you're crazy. So, especially against their 3 top pitchers. So, I mean, going in there and facing Schlittler and going in there and facing Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon, like, taking 2 out of 3 is fantastic. Especially scoring 9 on Schlittler or 6 on Schlittler before he leaves. And, you get 6 on Garrett Cole, I believe. 6 on Garrett Cole. I can't remember the score line at this point.
9 between the two.
9 between the two. But again, 9 between their 2 main guys is crazy enough. But yeah, like you said, guys are starting to break out. Rocchio's still been the most consistent guy on our roster coming to the plate. Guys like Bizana have stepped up, especially in this series. I mean, look at, was it game 1 where you got that double down the line that cleared the bases? So, I mean, guys are stepping up. The rookies, again, I've always reiterated this on any show I've been on. The rookies have been phenomenal. They've stepped up in massive ways. DeLauder, Bizana, Parker Messick. Like, these guys are coming alive. And, when other guys start to come out of their shell, like Jose's and Kyle Manzardo and maybe, hopefully soon, Steven Kwan, this team is hard to beat. It's one of the most difficult teams to beat. So I'm excited.
Definitely. What about you, Mike? What were your takeaways, other than, in addition to or the same that is what Drew kind of, stated?
Yeah, like since we've made the lineup changes of taking Quan out leadoff, I feel like it's helped Jose a lot. Like his production's definitely gone up. He's now batting 245. I think he was around 220 like a week or so ago. So that's definitely helped his production by moving Quan down to is he batting 7 or something now?
It's been back and forth between 7 and 8.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely been good. The best things I can take away from these games is one, Jose seems to be picking up some steam. He had one of the two hits that the Guardians got all day today. Again, as you said, he's up to 245, and then you're seeing a guy come off today. Manzardo, he pinch hit, but he hit home runs in the first two games of the series. He's finally picking things up. He's got his average up to 238, and while you're saying to yourself 238, that's a vast improvement. That's a vast improvement, and I mean, quite frankly, last night, even in a win where we scored a bunch, we win 5-4 last night. The 1 and 3 hitters, Bazana and DeLauder, were 0-for. The bottom of the lineup, Quan, Bailey, and Rocchio, 0-for-12. Yet we still got 5 runs. We had hit a bunch of home runs there at that bandbox in New York. It's a Little League park. So I'll take it. Like you said, Drew, and we talked about before we started, if I told you could take 2 out of 3 there, I'm going to take 2 out of 3 going to New York, because that they're looked at as the big bad guys, as it were. And so to go in there and to take them down is really important. It sends a message.
Thing is,
playing our best baseball.
We came out of the homestand at like 2-4.
Correct.
We avoided a sweep by the Red Sox in the final game.
Right.
And I was like, great. The last team I want to be going to after that is to New York. And to get 2 out of 3, definitely take it for sure.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, you look at it, of the teams that are above 500 in the American League, Seattle's 33-30, as I'm looking at it right this very instant. Chicago, 33-29, which is just absurd. I have no idea. The Guardians at 36-28. And in the AL East, Tampa at 36-23 and New York at 37-25. Tampa, surprisingly, what'd you say? They got swept by the Tigers. I mean, am I recalling that correctly,
correct.
guys?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And they're 2-8 in their last 10, so they're kind of getting back to reality, I think.
Yeah, I believe so. So the Guardians are positioning themselves well. And what I was thinking is, if Jose continues to get back toward his average, if Manzardo can continue to bat well, let's say he's even in the 260 range, right? Bring it up a little bit more, continue to do that. If only Quan could get things going consistently, you are looking at a very formidable lineup. It's not packed full of home run hitters, guys that are going to hit 40 bombs, but it's guys who have the ability to hit the long ball. They have the patience at the plate. They run the bases well. That's what we're going to need with this team. That's just how it's going to be. It's going to have to be guards ball. And obviously, I think, the White Sox, they're 2 games out right now. Have they played already today, or do they still have to go? Are they still playing this evening?
Let me take a look here.
Maybe they have an off. I'm trying to look at.
I think they got an off day.
They have an off day. Okay, all right. And next up for the Guardians, they're going to go to Texas. Hopefully, it's not sweltering hot down there. Is the new Texas Stadium? Is that a retractable roof by any chance? Did they close it for the heat?
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think they close it for like heat wave games or hot games.
Thank goodness, because obviously the ballpark I first knew when I was a kid in the 80s and in the very beginning of the 90s, before the ballpark at Arlington, which was not this stadium, but the prior. I mean, you go down to Texas, it's just blazing hot. So if they at least have a retractable roof there, that's saving grace, kind of along the lines, same as Houston as well, when you go in there, especially as an opponent, and quite frankly, even as the home team. As long as there's no garbage cans to be banged on in the dugout.
Chicago goes to Philly next as well, so that's gonna. be interesting for them.
That's good because Philly's playing a little bit better. They're starting to come into form. Obviously, the Guardians did a good job in Philadelphia. I think they're positioned well, despite everything. They're positioned well. Now, certainly guys are coming down, but Chase DeLauder coming back down to earth a little bit. Travis Bazzana, he's still solid. Obviously, he didn't have a great game yesterday, and I don't think he had a very good game today. Or did he just? He wasn't in the leadoff spot. They put Fry up there, which was interesting, but
what did you guys?
They wanted to get him more at bats
because I didn't actually listen to the full quotes, but apparently the manager was talking about how he wanted to get our best right-handed hitters at the top of the lineup against the lefty, and I'm like, okay, so you're putting Fry at lead off, you're putting Reese Hoskins behind Jose, and then Manzardo and Chase DeLauder are not even in the lineup. And Manzardo's coming off a hot streak of back-to-back games of hitting a home run. I'm like, why? Like, this is one of my pet hates. I'm sick and tired of coaches doing this, just like being obsessed with this lefty-righty matchup nonsense and leaving out your best hitters. And then when it doesn't work, like Fry was an easy out, if I remember correctly, in the first at-bat of the game. Didn't really offer much.
I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. But Fry struck out all 3 times he was up.
Exactly. Yeah. So backfired. It didn't work, did it?
No. I think that was he overthought it. But you know what? Analytically, he hit a home run. I feel like he had a good at bat. Oh,
analytically, we won 2-1 today and swept.
Yes, that's right. That's right. No, I think that's all in all. Things are certainly in a pretty good position. And I hope, here's my hope, and you guys tell me what you think. My hope is that the team continues to play well. And by the time we get to the All-Star break, we're right there. And the front office, the ownership make the decision like they did a la 2016 to add a piece or two to the puzzle from a team that's faltering to push us over the top, whether it's a pitcher or a hitter. I think I don't know what would work best in our case. Certainly I'd love to have a reliable power hitter, but I don't know who's going to be available and what you'd have to give up to get said player. So it might be an arm. Arms seem like they might be easier to come by. You never know there. But the Guardians, obviously, that was kind of it's been a highlight of the past few days, again, with the poop show that we've kind of had to deal with in coming out of Berea. Diarrhea is doing a diarrhea things. So are we like scared of the Yankees at all? Do we think that when they're like Aaron Judge gets back in the lineup, do you fear them amongst the best of the AL? I mean, certainly they're up there in terms of their record, but where do you kind of see the Guardians in the pecking order?
I'm not necessarily scared of the Yankees, especially without Aaron Judge, and depending on how his injury is or what the injury is, because I think they still don't know yet. I think they're still waiting for the results to get back. But if it is what's it called, TOS, it's like a 9 to 10 month injury, and it could be out for a while, but with surgery it's 9 to 10 months, and they said some guys who have that surgery don't come back normal. Like when they come back, they're like a totally different person. It's like some guys who have who was the catcher we had a couple of years ago? It wasn't
some
Cam
guys
Gallagher.
Don't even come back at all,
Mike Zunino. It was Mike Zunino. I think he had it.
Okay.
And I think before he had it, he was like a 270 average hitter, and he was batting like a near like 750 at least OPS or something. And after the surgery or whatever, obviously, of course, the Guardians decided to go get him.
Well,
and
yeah, we like those guys.
Yeah, and he comes back and he's god awful. He can't hit the baseball to save his life. He just looked completely different. Couldn't throw anyone out at second like he used to. He just was a totally different person. And they said even you could be the best of the best and you just could come back totally different. So if he has this injury and it requires surgery, number one, he's probably going to miss the rest of the season. Number two, if he comes back next year, he may not be the exact same. So I'm not necessarily afraid of the Yankees as of right now, especially, again, missing Stanton, missing Judge. We've beaten their few best pitchers already. So I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm so confident. Like if we're in the playoffs in the 7-game series, we're going to sweep them or something like that. No, I'm not saying that. But would I be scared of them? Not really.
All right. What about you, Mike? I mean, in terms of the pecking order of the American League,
Well, Weiss
where
can't
do
do
you
it on his
see-
own, can he? If Judge is out, that's a lot of pressure on Weiss to go out and produce, like especially in the playoffs. Like,
oh, definitely. And their pitching is not great. I know that
they've got massive bullpen issues, from what I understand.
they do. They certainly look good today. From the 7th inning on, what was it like? Every pitch was a split finger fastball, and our guys couldn't hit worth you know what. They looked horrible at the plate, and for God's sake, every time someone would get a good piece of a ball, it went right at somebody. It was just one of those days. It just couldn't find the holes, and we had warning track power on a couple hits. What are you going to do there? I think that I certainly would like to see the Guardians be able to play their way into no less than home field advantage in a situation where if they had to play, especially against New York, I would love to have home field advantage in that series, not be put under the pressure of, oh, now it's potentially, if it goes to 7 games, you got to win one there. I'd certainly prefer if they can manage to come out ahead of them. But that is certainly yet to be seen. Do we think that Jose is now, he's back? Okay, is he fully back to being Jose after the recent, obviously this series, he was amazing in New York. What do you think, Mike?
I hope so, because he was like, wasn't he like 7 or 15 in this? 7 or 15 in this series. He got 3 doubles in the first game. He had 3 hits in the second game, and he got 1 of our 2 hits today. So I sure hope so, because he's the main guy on this team.
Well, he kind of makes the engine go.
Exactly, makes the engine go with all his helmet falling off his head when he's stealing bases and stuff like that, being aggressive running, base running.
You definitely need him be saying, bro, home run, home run pitch. What do you think, Drew? Do you feel like Jose has turned the corner?
I think so, because I'm just looking at his stats right now, and it says in the last 7 games, in 27 at bats, he has 10 hits, 1 home run, 6 RBIs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, 2 stolen bases, hitting .370 with a .400 on base percentage and a .667 slugging percentage. So I would like to say maybe, probably in the last week or so, he's definitely turned the page and turned a massive corner, because he's hitting the ball extremely well. It happens. I mean, again, I think we heard the same story that Trevor Bauer told, where Jose, I think, was batting like a $180, and this was in like 2018 or 2017 or something. He like in the first 6 weeks, he was batting a $180. He just like looks at the score and goes, "You see that?
That's
funny, huh?" Yeah. He goes, "That's," and then he comes back like the next 6 weeks and has like 15 home runs, which is mashing the baseball. And it's like, he's like, I don't know what the hell he did, but he just went out there and just started doing really well. And he's just laughing at himself, and he goes, "That's the kind of guy he is." He didn't change anything. He was just laughing at himself, and he just goes out there and just plays baseball.
No, definitely. You gotta be a little bit lighthearted, I think.
Yeah.
and not be all up in your head, because if you start getting up in your head, and that's just going to make it 10 times worse.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to stick with your whatever your routine is, your approach. And it is kind of funny, though. We talk about, and I know I'm jokingly talking about the analytics and the numbers. And they always talk about this. Tito Francona would say, guys are going to hit their number. They're going to get to their number. And it seems like if you're hitting the ball well and you're making good contact, you're all right. I think if you're missing terribly and you're just lost at the plate, that's a different story. But if you're hitting it well and making good contact, and it's just simply not landing other than into a person's glove, you feel like eventually guys are gonna get to where they usually are. So speaking of guys that have disappointed, and they kind of showed who they were, I suppose. Let's talk a little bit of of some Cavs, or really some former Cavs, in Darius Garland and Lonzo Ball on the Ball in the Family podcast. I don't even know what to say when I heard some of the comments, more so from Lonzo. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised of the stupidity that comes out of his mouth, but I feel like DG needed to separate himself from that fool. What did you guys make of the asinine statements there?
I mean, you said it best right there. It was asinine. Like, you're sitting there telling me on the podcast with 2 broken big toes, saying, if they still had me, this team would probably make the next step and have gone to the championship and stuff. Like, we'd be in the NBA Finals right now. And it's like, dude, you could even play for 90% of the season. And you're sitting there telling us if we had you, you'd be in the finals. I don't even think you would have played a single game in the playoffs. I mean, you barely played 4 or 5 games for the Clippers when we traded you. So I don't think you have the right to say something like this. And then Lonzo, you just never even got picked up after we even dropped you. So I don't know what you're trying to say. Dude was averaging 1.5 points per game. Oh, dude, sorry, but even defensively, as soon as you would get the ball, you would turn it right back over anyway. So it's not like you were gonna help.
He was absolutely brutal. Mike, what did you make of some of the comments there?
I don't know, really. Lonzo Ball's stats for the Cavs are pathetic. He was shooting 30% from total percentage and 27% from 3. It's apparently, according to his stats, which I'm looking at currently, in 35 games for us.
Well, yeah, and he was supposed to be. Go ahead, Mike.
Production was not great, was it? Really?
No.
We brought him in thinking he was going to be a game changer, and was it the injuries? Was it the lack of reps of other guys? Was it just
who knows what it was? But we didn't get what we had hoped to get from him, and I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it. The 3 of us have kind of talked about this. I don't know if it was simply due to the fact that our rotations were never right due to injuries. And so it forced him to have to come in and play a bigger role than maybe we would have wanted him to. And maybe that set it up for other stuff. But the fact that guy kept shooting the stinking ball was just crazy. It was absolutely crazy. So, all right, I'm going to ask you guys, this is a serious question. If I can have you do it all over again, would you trade Isaac Okoro for Lonzo Ball? Mike, I'll go to you first.
Absolutely not.
Okay, that takes a big man to admit that.
At least Okoro offered us something useful defensively. Yes, he wasn't the greatest on offense, but he can be scrappy on the defensive side. So he would have been more useful in the playoffs than what Lonzo Ball would have been, in my opinion. So,
yeah, all season he would have been more useful. Drew,
all season, yeah. But yeah.
Where do you fall on this one?
I mean, I'm with Mike on this. So,
I'm with you too. So
yeah,
but I wanted your thoughts on it. Because I think that we kind of felt that maybe Okoro was a little bit disposable, and I don't know what made the trade attractive other than maybe was there salary implications that helped us by making that trade? I don't recall.
I don't remember.
Because other than that, you knew you weren't getting a better offensive player.
I think it's like we lost Ty Jerome from the playoffs from the previous year, and we needed an extra point guard. And Okoro didn't offer much offensively, so it was like, can we try our luck and get some guy who's meant to be known as a defensive guard, because that's what Lonzo Ball was known for. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, and that was just a terrible. That was a terrible waste of time with that experiment. It was not a pleasure watching him, and the fact that he comes out now. I will say, I listened a little bit or read some of this transcript from the podcast, and he said it's hard to win when you don't have an identity. I don't think Lonzo was wrong in that statement. And I guess my question is, was that more of an issue with the players or the injuries or just a combination of all that? I think, and if we're talking about just in the playoffs, injuries really weren't the issue, or maybe it was because it didn't by the time you got the injuries, the trades, etc., you had to change identities. You didn't really know what you were. Do you guys agree with Lonzo on that point, that it's hard to win when you don't have an identity?
Well, I mean, yeah, because all season long, we've dealt with nothing but injuries to a lot of our main stars and our main players. So you can't have much of an identity. And we talked about this before. We can't have an identity when you have 50 mixed lineups every game. The lineup's different every single game you play in. One night you have Mitchell. One night it's Garland and Mobley. One night it's just Jared Allen. One night it's this person. One night, hell, it's Thomas Bryant and Sam Merrill. And, so it's hard to have an identity when the group keeps getting mixed up because of the injuries and that no one's played together. And then by the time you get to that deadline and you bring in a James Harden, by the time everyone actually gets to play together because they're all healthy, no one knows what the hell is going on, because it's like, oh, I expected this guy to be here when he's supposed to be here. And, the miscommunications happen a lot. And it's what happens when you don't have enough time to work together and practice together, and everything's all thrown off. So it wasn't like there was no identity in the locker room. I'm sure everyone loved each other and hung out with each other and stuff like that. It was just, with all the injuries, it's kind of hard to have an identity on the court to win basketball games.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mike, would you kind of agree with that statement from Lonzo, that it's hard to win when you don't have an identity, which was pretty clear.
The stat that sums it up is that we didn't play full strength until game 85 of the season, which was the first playoff game against the Raptors. That was the first game where we had everyone available to play.
Yeah. No, there it is. That really does sum it up. And I guess an offshoot question here that you guys just kind of made me think of. In Kenny Atkinson's first year, we beat the other teams to oblivion.
Yeah.
And we went deep onto the bench, and we made a concerted effort to rest players and make sure they got to the postseason healthy, only to then have them get dinged up and nicked up. I mean, Evan Mobley rolling his ankle because someone steps underneath him. Darius Garland's toe. I mean, that happened apparently in the Miami series, in what game 2. And who else? Hunter gets his thumb jacked up on what should have been a flagrant against Indiana. And I don't even know who else was jacked up at that point. And obviously, every season, by the end of it, Mitchell seems to be running on fumes. His lower body's giving him problems. But again, Jalen Brunson leaves the game twice last night in the NBA Finals. He's always fine. But do you think, having experienced that last year, and then this year, you went a little bit – I still think you were conservative. Actually, probably more conservative, because you said, well, we got to get to the end of the season, and we had injuries throughout the season. We don't care what the regular season record is. Where's the middle ground for these guys? What do you think the plan of attack is going to be going into next season? And obviously the roster makeup will have an impact on that. Mike, what do you think they should do next year in terms of playing these guys versus resting them, and how they can avoid these types of injuries, which derailed our regular season this year for sure, and derailed the postseason last year.
I don't know. It's just about managing the amount of reps together, because you need these guys to build chemistry. Like Max Juice played 8 regular season games, I think it was back into this season.
It sounds about right.
About that, because he came back end of March, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And then immediately someone else gets, whoever it was, like Allen or, was injured. And then
Thomas Bryant got injured. I know he didn't
Bryant,
even get used much in the playoffs in the end for some strange reason after he helped the Pacers get to the finals the year before. So that was a bit weird. But it's just about managing the amount of reps. But I don't know how you do it, because we tried both ways.
Right. I mean, Drew, what do you think?
Do you think this is why as well, though, that they're bringing back Kenny? Apparently, they don't want to trade Mobley. James Harden's going to get a 2-year extension. Is it 2-year extension?
I believe that's what it'll be.
Yeah, and they want to extend Spider at some point. Do you think they're just like, look, we got to the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah, it sucked how it ended, but we need to have a full season of proper reps, because Harden came in trade deadline with Dennis Schroeder, and then obviously Max Strus got implemented late into the season. So do you think they're just going to run it back for 1 year and just hope that they can figure it out and actually get an actual offense? Because they got the offense
Drew
had no identity, did it really? And Lonzo Ball said, in the playoffs, what was the identity of that offense? What was it?
Stanky leg, driving kick, hope for a pick and roll. I don't know, Drew. Where do you come out on Mike's question?
Well, I mean, I take a look back. Oh my God, I can't talk. I take a look back to 2 seasons ago when we first got Kenny. The ball was moving well. Everything was flowing. Nobody was really injured at all. And like you said, we beat the crap out of teams. We went undefeated for the first almost 20 games. 15 games of the season. Everything was going completely right. Again, there was not many injuries. Everyone was playing together. You didn't change anything really. I think the only thing that changed was you brought in Ty Jerome later on or whatever and whatnot. But I think you can ride with the same hand and ride with the same players, because again, I think a lot of it had to do with you had so many different lineups throughout the year, and Kenny couldn't really do much of anything with it, because it's well, how am I supposed to draw up plays when this play is supposed to be for this guy and he hasn't played in 30 games, or when this play is supposed to be for this guy and he hasn't played in this amount of time, or, we're supposed to run these plays and these guys aren't even available. And so we're got to do it with our bench guys. So it's kind of difficult to coach when half your roster is injured for half the year, and it's hard to get acclimated. So when you do get to the playoffs, sure, I would say we got lucky against Toronto and Detroit. We probably should have lost both series. So the fact that we even made it to where we were was a miracle short in itself. But I do believe that if you had everyone healthy, I think you go back to what happened a couple of seasons ago when you first got Kenny. You started off 15-0 and whatnot. I think the team actually does look good because, hey, now we've practiced together. We've played together. We know what each other like. We know how each other roll. It makes playing the game so much more easier. And I don't think people realize that part.
Those are some great points. I think that one thing I'll go to is, and I understand what you're saying, players kind of knowing where everybody is going to be on a particular set, right? And I think, and obviously the communication on defense was not great. A couple of things. One, Channing Frye was on ESPN Cleveland last week, and he kind of talked about how it was during the championship season with LeBron and how he had everyone in. They were all together, very tight-knit group, not just on game day, not just in the locker room, but outside of that. And you wonder, was this group that way? And I don't know, because, and maybe it's because we had to make these changes midway through the season where we bring in Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder, and James Harden. at the midway through, we get rid of DeAndre Hunter and so on and so forth. You do wonder about those types of things. I guess I've got a couple of concerns. One, we can't rely on 36, 37-year-old James Harden to be a focal point of the offense all the time, right? Mm-hmm. He needs to kind of be more of a sixth man type thing. You have to have, honest to God, Evan Mobley can't just be, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He can't be a magician. He can't have a disappearing act. He has to show up every single game. You absolutely have to have Mitchell and Mobley every single night. If those two are still on the team, those two have to show up every single night. Then you have to have your role players. You're going to get different guys to step up. You need a Jared Allen to be consistent. He doesn't have to take over games. You need him to be consistent. Jalen Tyson made great strides forward in season number 2. You're going to need him. There's just a bunch of guys that are going to have to be ready to step up at a given moment. But it's really going to fall on Mitchell. And at this point, if they keep the band together, Mobley, he's got to be more. Now, I don't know how you change his mindset, how you get these guys to be nasty and mean and ready to fight somebody. And I also don't know how you get a guy like Evan Mobley much bigger. How do you basically, and this is to use the person that he's been compared to or had been compared to, like a Giannis. How do you get him to go from a twig to be a full-blown, giant oak tree out there that can't be pushed around? That it's crazy. We just watched the NBA, the finals, game 1 last night. Wemby, he was kind of getting pushed around. They weren't just letting him, mess with that. They use their physicality. He's obviously got size in terms of length, but in terms of physical stature, Cat and Mitchell Robinson, they're strong. They're strong. So I feel like those are some big questions the Cavs are going to need to address. And I don't know what they're going to do to the roster. If they keep the main part of it intact, what are they adding? What are they subtracting? We've talked about, Dean Wade, he's out on Twitter. He's, them's fighting words with people, which I love. I just wish he would take that attitude on the court and not be afraid and act like he doesn't realize he belongs on the floor, because he can be a very valuable player if he actually has a little bit of confidence. And you asked what the offense was and the identity. It was crap is what it was. It was absolute garbage. You get a pick, a roll, you drive to the middle of the lane, you stop, you pivot. You have nowhere to go with it. You get stuck in the air and you throw the ball away. It was absolute trash. What do you got, Mike?
The problem is as well, I think, was it Windy that brought the start up? That before Harden trade, the Cavs were 7th in pace of offense, and we dropped to 22 or something after the Harden trade. So the offense is complete. That's telling that the offense has changed, right?
Right. And that was something I think that we had tried to do. They wanted to speed up the offense, and they did a great job of it the season before. But obviously the guys constantly being injured really screwed things up. And then to get a guy like Harden, who he's 36 years old. I'm 47, and I'm not going to be able to give as much as I used to be able to give when I was 20 something. It's just a fact of life. It's an absolute fact of life.
But did you hear the rumors that were going around? Apparently the Cavs inquired for Drew Holiday and Derek White trade instead of Harden when they made the James Harden trade, and I would have preferred either one of them, to be honest.
Oh, I certainly would have taken one of those guys. I would have. Drew Holiday is a defender. I love that guy. Derek White, he's a streaky shooter. I like him. Certainly, those guys would have been very very good for the Cavs, just overall, I think. There was something, I believe that it was, again, Lonzo Ball talking about question the rotations. We all question the rotations. He talks about a guy like Tyson, who, especially in the Detroit series, he got relegated to the bench especially what was it like game 2 or it was game 2 or 5 where he comes in and he's kind of feisty, gets a technical, and we had the lead, and then we're, and then Kenny glued his ass to the bench. Tomlin, we were advocating for a guy like Naquan to get some playing time. He's got length, right?
Yeah.
Can he not be a good defender?
Yeah, and he's physical too. No fear.
He's got an attitude. He doesn't back down from anybody.
Yeah, plays with no fear.
That's the kind of guy we need.
What happened to Tomlin though? Because when he was on the two-way, he was brilliant. As soon as he signed that NBA regular contract, his performances dropped.
I'd have to look at when that was. That happened right around the time I think we made trades, and again, these rotations were screwed up. And he was going to be a streaky shooter, but we needed him. His biggest asset right now, this past season, was when he was aggressive and on offense and defense. I think you just need more of that. He needs time to develop. He just needs more time to develop.
Pops is the guy that I'm looking at for next year.
Who are you looking at for next year?
Proctor.
Tyrese Proctor.
Tyrese Proctor.
Proctor, yeah. I want to see him. He needs to make a big leap as well, because he's got size as a point guard, whereas like Craig Porter Jr., he's small. He's small, and I love him. He's kind of feisty, but when they brought him in, like not this year, I don't think, other than in garbage time this year in the playoffs, but against the Pacers last year, he got eaten alive. It was brutal. I mean, that whole series just went south. Ty Jerome couldn't hit the broadside of a barn for some reason.
Ty Jerome was unplayable in those playoffs.
No, he won. It was
he couldn't score at all. Like every time he came in, the offense just went tits up.
No, it was that I cannot believe the transformation or what happened from the regular season to the postseason. DG said it was a tough watch. He only watched a little bit. But then that's okay. I get it. Yeah, that is, I understand. He said he got his joy back. I'm scratching my head. Do you think it was that? I mean, he was still had injuries, but what do you make of him suggesting? And this is just my extrapolating what he said. He's somehow suggesting he had lost his joy in Cleveland. What? Because you had pressure on you and people expected you to play well, and then you didn't play well and they gave you crap about it? I mean, what do you make of him talking? I got my joy back.
Well, I think it's both of what you said. I think it was the commonality that we were expecting him to be, great, because he started to come alive since the All-Star break in Cleveland, where him and Mobley and Allen did the All-Star gate thing, whatever, and he performed. And then after that, he was performing very well in the regular season and in the postseason and stuff like that. And we expected him like, hey, this kid's going to be really, really good. He's an all-star level caliber player. He needs to play like an all-star. And then he kept getting injured, and he would come back and be the worst player you would see in a while. And it's like he couldn't live up to it. And I think it caused that joy to disappear. So it's like, I mean, I get it. You had all these expectations placed on you, and you started to get injured and you started to stink it up. But that's the whole thing of sports, is like you bounce back from those injuries and you get back to the high caliber player you were, instead of like, ouchie, my toe hurts, please help me. Like, you're not going to get help in this league. So if you're going to be great, be great. Guys have played through so many injuries and have played well. I mean, we've seen the videos of Kobe taking free throws with a torn ACL. Same with Klay Thompson. Like, I'm sure those guys didn't even want to leave the floor at that point. But you're telling me because your big toe hurts, you don't want to play basketball anymore, and the expectations are too high now, because we expect you to actually be Darius Garland and play good basketball. So like, yeah, you go to a place like LA where there's very little expectations of you because you have Kawhi Leonard,
especially the Clippers.
Yeah, especially the Clippers. So you don't have those expectations on you. So yeah, you have your joy back because you're not expected to do anything, which is why you missed the rest of the season when you got traded.
I have no problem with his toe injury. It was actually, I mean, the fact that he had to have surgery on it, I get it. So I'm not going to call him out for that.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just like, that sounds like a lame ass comment to me. Mike, I mean, what did you make of him saying, I lost my joy. I got my joy back now.
Don't know, but like one thing I do think is it's going to be his team next year, isn't it? Because Quiet's going to get traded, and then it's just going to be DJ leading the charge on that team. Like he's going to be the main guy.
Stink.
They're going to semi-rebuild around Darius Garland and his 9 toes.
They might as well just chop it off at this point. I mean, honest to goodness, again, I won't give him crap for the injury. The injury sucks. It sucks that he gets injured as often as he does. But that rubbed me the wrong way. That's all. I guess that rubbed me. He was a top 10 draft pick.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and he showed he could do some amazing things, but again, the fact that he was injured so often, just that's difficult. That's very difficult. And I don't love that commentary of getting his joy back. I'm like, what, you're enjoying the weather out there? So, and what he's made some comment about LeBron. Why would he want to go back to Cleveland? It's like 75 degrees out here.
Well, like, guess what, GG? He left Miami to come back to Cleveland, and Miami's hot.
And guess what, DJ? He's from here, so he's used to the weather.
Yeah, just because he comes back here for a year or something doesn't mean he has to sell his house in LA.
Yeah, I'm sure he still has a house in Miami too. Yeah,
absolutely, kind of crazy there. Off of or moving a little bit away from the Cavs, what were your guys' thoughts? And we already touched on a little bit about game 1 of the finals and how I mean, to me, I'll just throw my shot at, throw something out there right away, which I hate to admit. I mean, the Knicks seem like they are on a roll of rolls, and I don't think it's all luck. They're playing great basketball, and I'm going to be very upset probably because they're probably going to win the title. But just what did you make of game 1? Where do you think, or how far do you think the Cavs are away from being in the finals and winning a title? And what do you think is going to happen in the rest of the series here, I guess? Mike, what do you, I'll go to you first here on this one.
Unfortunately, I agree. I think the Knicks are going to win the NBA title this year for the first time in 47 years?
1973, I believe, was their last.
73, I thought it was 79, but yeah. So
it's one of them. Just one of the two, 73 or 79.
Something like that. But yeah, unfortunately, I think they're going to win the title because I think they've got a more balanced starting five. Like, I think the Spurs, I put this in the Discord yesterday, and Big Rig didn't like it, but I basically said that the Spurs are basically Wemby and a bunch of role players, and he took it the wrong way because the Knicks have a strong starting five. You know what you're going to get from their starting five, whereas the Spurs are Wemby, and then you maybe one other guy will have a good game. But they don't have that second star player. Like the Knicks have Cartwright, who's clearly their second best player. Like the Spurs don't have that. They have a bunch of guards who on any given night can have a good game, but you don't know who it's going to be. And I feel like in the series against a team like the Knicks, you have to have that identity of a second guy that can go out there and dominate his will. And I don't think San Antonio have that outside Wemby. So unfortunately, I do think the Knicks are going to win this series. But if Brunson gets hurt, it could change. But we saw that. I kind of wanted him to yesterday a little bit, but when he got his two injuries, but unfortunately he soldiered through it and ended up being the best player on the court still somehow. Like when DG would screw his toe.
Well, it seems like Brunson and Mitchell are very similar in that way. Like they'll get dinged up and play through it and stuff. But I don't know, Drew, where do you come out on these types of things?
Yeah, so I just wanted to Google it just to make sure. It was 1973 when the New York Knicks last won the NBA championship. So 53 years it's been since they've won, which is kind of close to how long it's been since a Cleveland team won a championship. It was 50-some years.
It was 52.
It's 52. So, I mean, I'm pretty much almost in agreement with both of you in terms of if the Knicks play like this, it's not going to be close, and I think the Knicks are going to take the series. the only way San Antonio could win is if they win game 2 and kind of win it convincingly in my eyes. I'm talking like a double-digit win. Like you have to win convincingly. And which you were for the majority of game 1. You're up by 15 or so points through a big chunk of it. And you just, like the Cavs in game 1, you let it slip away, and that gives a team like the Knicks so much confidence. And when you give a team like that so much confidence, they're going to come out in game 2 and not miss a shot. Like they're going to make everything. And when guys like Landry Shamet and others are making buckets every time they touch the ball, it's impossible to beat. I mean, he's averaging 15 points in these playoffs in the last series, and now in the final.
It's unbelievable. I mean, they even made that. The one guy hit a 3 off the glass from the corner yesterday. Yeah. I was just, my gosh,
they can't miss.
It seems like it's one of those runs. It just does, and you wonder if they're going to run out of gas, a la and the luck, kind of sort of like the Pacers last year.
Yeah,
you wonder if they're going to be able to get through it, and I think they've got the horses to do it.
The problem is
a little bit different last year.
The other problem is they've got the massive advantage of less games. Like they've played 4 games in the last 23 days.
Oh
like,
yeah.
It's like they're gonna have a lot more energy to give in those closest games. Like San Antonio needs to get out to early leads and then keep control of the game, because if the games drag on and they're close late, the Knicks are gonna have all the extra energy to give to grind out the wins. So
I mean, what happened to us?
Exactly.
They swept the series before. We went to back-to-back game 7, so we came into that series completely exhausted, and it definitely showed that we got swept.
Because all the Knicks had to do was keep those games against us close, and they had more energy in the fourth quarters to just pull away and make it look uneven.
It was a horrible set of circumstances, and it just was a real butt kicking there, which I hated to see and to admit. And funny enough, guys, if you probably did know this, and I'm sure you read it somewhere. Do you remember the last time that the Knicks were in the finals? Who were they playing?
Spurs.
Spurs. And they did lose. That was a crazy season, because I think that was. Did they say that was a strike shortened season?
Don't know.
I think.
But also,
I believe so.
Am I correct as well that the last time Mike Brown coached in the finals was also against the Spurs?
As the Cavs coach.
Yeah,
that's right, coach. Yeah, exactly. And they got swept. So
everything is working right now for the Knicks. Let's just say that. And I think that's the best way that we can put it. Moving forward, I just wanted to touch on this a little bit here, Mike, because it's the sports world. It's interesting. How are things going? We've got the women's softball college softball World Series. Game number 2, best of 3 rematch, Texas and Texas Tech. That just got underway. Did that get underway at 8:00, Mike?
It did. And the bad news for you, mate, Texas Tech have just taken a lead in the 3rd inning, so they were up 1-0.
Okay. Drew, I know you haven't watched as much of it, but I mean, this manager, Jerry Glasgow, for Texas Tech, the way he handles this pitching it seems absurd to me. Between Caitlin Terry and Nigeri Kennedy,
he screwed himself yesterday. He screwed himself yesterday because Kennedy couldn't even come back in the game.
Oh my gosh, that's brutal. How did he manage to pull that one?
I don't know, but it got to a point where she was on 27 pitches or whatever, and he couldn't bring her back in. It's like,
maybe he felt like, I'm not going to bring her back in. I don't know. The guy, I don't understand him. Obviously, over on the Texas side of things, Tegan Cavan, she pitched a complete game, 3 earned runs, 3 hits, 2 walks, 2 home runs, 6 Ks in the game 1 win, as Texas, again, trying to repeat in the women's softball World Series, College World Series. So, we'll see how that one plays out here.
Is it common for managers to rotate like that? So use the starting pitchers multiple times?
I don't know. That's a good question, Mike. I don't know how many managers do that.
I only got into softball last year, and I only watched the World Series tournament. So
right, and I'm kind of I will say I'm a novice as well, and so I can't say for certain if other managers do the same, but certainly it seems odd the way he handles it, and but obviously he's been there for 2 seasons. They've been in the World Series final both seasons. So, I mean, credit to him. Obviously what he's doing is working. If you look at their batting averages, it looks like murderer's row. I don't think they've got anybody in the lineup hitting less than 300.
Oh, I was going to say, are they just below the Kyle Manzardo line of 200?
No, they're not below the Manzardo line. No, they're very much above the Manzardo line. Kind of crazy stuff, but we'll see how that goes. I know that, we won't touch on this because there's no point really discussing this. It's stinking lucky Vegas Knights leading after 1 period in game number 2 in Carolina.
It was funny. They are up. It was funny because I was sitting there watching the game, and I was like, well, the shots are 6-1 to Vegas. I bet you Vegas will go and score first. About 10 seconds after I thought that, what happens? They go and score the first goal of the game. I'm like,
you've got voodoo power.
Mate, the first period's just finished, and it's 2 shots to 6.
I know.
1-0 up.
I was thinking that earlier too, Ethan, where he said, "Oh, Stuart Fairchild's going to get out," and then right after he said that, he hits a ground ball single through the gap.
I did it on purpose because it worked previously when I did it. I said this guy, I think it was from Manzardo or someone. I was like,
yes.
I was like, he ain't going to do anything with that bat. Might as well end anything. So I thought I'd try it again, and it worked. So I was like, brilliant.
Why can't you do it during like a bases loaded situation?
Exactly. Well, you know what, Drew? We did a lot of trash talking on opening day, and it seemed to work.
We did. We did do a lot of work.
I feel like that worked out well. Speaking of things that didn't work out well, or they might work out well. The big news in Cleveland, of course, the Browns. Myles Garrett traded. There was a lot of smoke, but there were some people who said, I was told this, I was told that. And it was like, okay, I don't think they're going to do it. We didn't get any defensive end help in the draft. Why now? Why do it now? And all of a sudden, this news breaks on Monday. And how shocked were you guys? I mean, I know I was just blown away at the moment. But I'd love to know what you initially were thinking when you heard the news.
So before I went to bed on Sunday night about 4 a.m., I saw loads of smoke about the Eagles and the Rams being interested in Myles Garrett. And I was like, because obviously the restructure of the contract, the 1st of June was coming up. Apparently it was easier to trade Myles on the 1st of June, blah, 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 blah. But I was like, what actual value are we going to get from trading him? Because, if he goes to either one of those teams, in my opinion, they're instantly going to be an NFC Championship team for the near future, the next few years, because that's how good he is. And they're both very good teams anyway. And I was like, if everyone's talking about 3 first-round picks, is it worth 3 first-round picks to trade Myles Garrett, in my opinion? For us, no. Because those picks are lottery picks at the end of the day. You don't know what you're going to get. They're going to be back of the first round. They're not going to give you the output that Myles Garrett can give you. I didn't want to make the trade. Then you've got guys like Nick Padone saying he's had text messages suggesting that a trade might take place. I'm like, okay, this is just basically clickbait and trying to get views. So I went to bed. I was like, okay. Woke up in the mornings, saw same stuff again. I messaged you 2 in the chat going, I'm going to send a voice note about Myles Garrett. I don't think it's going to happen because I think 3 first-round picks isn't enough. There's no value into it. I go outside, I do the gardening, I sit down, I put the softball on, and I see a tweet for the Myles Garrett trade. I was like, that's got to be a fake account. When I clicked on it, and Adam Schefter, I think it was, or had tweeted about it. I was like, was it him or was it Rappaport? It was one thing.
I think it was Rappaport.
It could have been both.
And I instantly showed it to you guys, and I was like, he's actually gone. He's actually gone. And then it came out saying we've got Verse and a first-round pick with more draft capital to be confirmed. And Andrew Berry was at the golf event saying it hasn't been gone through yet. And I was like, what other draft capital are we going to get? Can we please get another first rounder? We didn't. We got a second and a third. But then when I reflected on it, I was like, actually, the guy that we've got in return is ready to step up and play. Like, this was one of my biggest concerns as well. Like, if you just trade Myles for 3 first-round picks, you're leaving yourself short for the upcoming season. You don't replace him in the lineup. Mm-hmm. You're just using your guys that have, for the large part, have been, I don't know how to
well, they haven't been. They're not anywhere near that caliber, and they can't even like hold his jockstrap, right? Yeah. Is basically what you're trying to put in a very nice way.
I wanted to be polite. I didn't want to be rude towards the guys on the team, but that was my concern. Well, like, if you just trade them for draft picks, you're not going to get instant impact because we didn't take anyone in the draft.
Exactly.
In that position. But luckily, we got a guy in who was Defensive Rookie of the Year in his first season, 2 Pro Bowls, had the joint second most total pressures last season. Obviously, didn't get 23 sacks, and it was 7.5. But his tackles were only like 2 less than Myles, and he forced the same amount of fumbles. So obviously, he's not Myles Garrett because no one is. But the production's there to be okay with the trade, in my opinion. Like, Myles Garrett's turning 31. This guy's turning 26. You've got him for another 5 years, potentially, if you sign him to an extension. And it could be a lot worse. You could have got 3 first-round picks from them and completely screwed yourself over in the short term. But obviously, the Browns made it very, very clear with the Rams that they were not going to make a trade with Outverse being part of the deal. So both teams obviously valued him highly because they didn't want to give him up. The Browns were persistent in asking for him to be part of the move. And eventually the deal came through. But I was still surprised. Like, at first, I thought it was a fake account reporting it, but it wasn't. So,
yeah, crazy. Drew, where'd you, like, walk me through what I don't even know. Just walk me through what was going through your head.
So, yeah, when I woke up to Mike's text message, I was like, yeah, Mike's just screwing with us at this point. So I was like, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, no, this ain't. And then I saw the account name and I was like, oh, it's Rap Sheet. And I'm like, of course, it's Ian Rappaport's actual Twitter account.
That's what I thought it was a fake one to start with. I had to double check that it was. I was like, oh, he's got like how many million views he's followers on his account.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Right.
Yeah, like that's the Ian Rappaport. So,
and this was literally about 10 minutes after that they had that videos coming out with Todd Monken talking about the Myles stuff, and had he been guaranteed that Myles was going to be on the roster. It was about 10 minutes after that happened. I'm like,
and how I was feeling, like, obviously at first I was like, I mean, I was just shocked the entire time, but when I saw the return, when I saw Jared Verse, I was like, you know what? If there was a guy to get, it would be him. Because I know the Browns went to the Eagles for Jalen Carter, and the Eagles said, yeah, hell no, you're not getting Jalen Carter. And the Browns were like, all right, cool, so we're just going to go to LA. We're not going to deal with you anymore. Because I think the Eagles wanted to give us A.J. Brown, and the Browns were like, yeah, no thanks. You can send him somewhere else. And so I was like, Jared Verse, and I remember the kid because I watched him a couple times. I was like, I like the kid a lot. He's really good. He's really talented. Like Mike said, he may not be Myles Garrett, but the production's there. He's going to give you good quality production. And I said this before, and I said it on my show a few days ago. Myles Garrett doesn't win you games individually, because there's only so much a guy can do, especially on a football team. When it's your entire defense that's carrying you, you do need some offensive production. Like I said, take a point, look at the Patriots game. 5 sacks. And guess what we did with each one of those sacks? Absolutely nothing. The Browns couldn't even score 2 touchdowns. I know we got 1 touchdown because we scored first, and it was 7-0. And then after that, we just didn't do anything. We got blown out. So 5 sacks in a single game, didn't do anything with any of those sacks. So why keep a guy around who's going to get you 20 sacks a season and there's no output for that production. There's no points going on the board for that production. You're basically just wasting a guy's career to break records and finish with only 4 wins because you got a guy who's a 5'2" quarterback who can't make a 4.5-yard pass. Like, I'm sorry, but he deserved to go to a team that was in the NFC Championship and was like this close to a Super Bowl. So it's all about the team itself. And I'm sure Myles loved it here. I know he reiterated 1,000 times that Cleveland was his home and stuff like that. Same thing with Nick Chubb. Same thing with David Njoku. But these singular guys can't win you ball games by themselves. And don't get me wrong, Myles was probably happy with the defense he had in Cleveland. It's just the offense that he probably hated. So you didn't. The thing is you did it. You had 9 years to get it right for Myles, and you couldn't get him an offense to help him when he got 5 sacks every game. You gave him no offensive output, no offensive help. You decided to give up. I think the domino was the Deshaun Watson deal when you couldn't do anything after that. And everyone knew that this team was going to be bad for the next few years because, hey, we got to spend all this money and all these first-round picks on a guy who loves happy endings but can't give you one.
Right, exactly. You know what? Man, I think you need to go out on a high note there, Drew, because that was a fantastic way of putting it.
I don't think I'm going to do it going nuclear now because I think that's the bar. I set the bar too high.
I think that hit the nail on the head. I guess that one, you hit. I was thinking it exactly what you said there, and again, this is what people who are saying in local radio. Tony Rizzo said it. We're saying it. Deshaun Watson is the stain on this organization. He's the piece of stain that keeps on giving and wasted years. Jason Lloyd made a point this, I think it might have been today on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, talking about people who were saying, I think who are lamenting what the Haslams are doing and basically, and saying, we're constantly rebuilding. And his point was, if you looked at it, everything prior to the Deshaun Watson trade was like they were spending, they were making a conscious effort to win. As soon as the Deshaun Watson thing happened, and then I think he said the moment when he got carted off the field, that's when it turned into a rebuild.
Yeah,
that's when it turned into a rebuild. We got younger and we got cheaper with Jared Verse. He's not going to be Myles Garrett. They're going to need other guys to actually step up. What we're going to have to pay close attention to this season is the overall impact on the team, on the defense. When you don't have an opponent that has to game plan specifically for one player, you don't see a guy coming up to the line of scrimmage and pretending to do between the leg crossover dribbles or running in motion and watching the other team try and go back and forth with him. You're not going to have that. You just don't have that. It's going to take a total team effort. Mm-hmm. And this was, once they got Verse as part of the deal or a player, that made it a little more palatable. Because as we all discussed, we weren't interested in these like 3 first-round picks that are going to be late-round picks in theory because LA is going to be good.
Yeah,
they're gonna be good, so it's essentially a second-round pick the way it's gonna be. And I know people talk about, you use that to trade up and this, that. Get the heck out! That's so many chess moves ahead. I want to concentrate on the here and now. And the fact of the matter is, if the Browns are somewhere in the middle, that 28th, 30th pick, whatever, 32nd, I don't know how much that's really going to help them. If they don't have the quarterback and they can't get to the top of the draft board. And we're still going to be talking about it this year. I know that next week is the mandatory minicamp. We knew that was coming up. We were wondering what was going to happen with that. Now we don't have to wonder about that. I'm glad that Jared Verse came into town, got off a plane and came in and participated in stuff, not the team drills, but the individual drills. Mm-hmm. We've got a lot of stuff to look, I guess. I'm still going to try and be positive, even though I'm not so sure that we've got the weaponry, we've got the team to be in the hunt for the division. I know we talked before and felt like we're right there, but now I'm going to wonder is how much of an impact is that Myles Garrett move going to have on the defense?
I don't actually think we're going to see much of it. I don't think we're going to see much of a drop off personally, because we've got an instant.
I hope not.
Obviously, we're not going to have opponents like Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh sacrificing a win to stop their quarterback from getting sacked. That's not going to happen. But I do think it's going to force other guys like Alex Wright and stuff to step up, and maybe them develop better and take the next step. And then you've obviously got Verse coming, was top 6 in pretty much every single pass rush category last year.
And you still got Schlesinger too.
And Schlesinger's going to get better.
We need Mason Graham to take a leap forward.
Who's the guy that we got the Jets, the linebacker?
Williams.
Quincy Williams, yeah?
Yeah, Quincy Williams.
Yeah.
Apparently he's an upgrade to Devin Bush, so...
Oh, yeah, definitely. And you've got other fellas. If he can be healthy, Michael Hall has had his moments, certainly.
I think these guys might step up because they might look at him and go, actually, we were so reliant on Myles that we can no longer afford to just sit and watch sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was just the Myles Garrett show. It was like, oh, he's going to make the sacks. We will just do our little part.
Pretty much.
But now these guys might step up and actually take it to their next level. So, I mean, obviously we've got Verse who's pretty good anyway. So hopefully, I'm hoping the drop off won't too much.
I like his energy.
You know what, Ethan? Though I don't like the negativity around the fact that we could have gotten 3 first-round picks for Myles Garrett, because you know why? You could have spent $230 million guaranteed on Kyler Murray with those 3 first-round picks.
But like I said, the 3 first-round picks, that's a year's time. You screw yourself for a year. If you don't replace Myles Garrett with a player like Verse,
you're going
to empty spot on your roster.
But you replaced Deshaun Watson with Kyler Murray for another $230 million guaranteed and 3 first-round picks. So you waste those first-round picks.
I'd rather have JJ McCarthy.
Exactly. That's who you're trading for.
We're trading for the lottery of hopefully getting Darnay Moore, apparently.
Jimmy has been huffing that gas a little too much from owning those gas stations. He's like, oh, you know who'd be great? Toward ACL, JJ McCarthy, man. That guy would be great. How much money do we have?
Oh, my. Mike, or Drew, I don't know what you're... Okay.
I'm on one tonight,
speaking
boys.
Speaking of people that are delusional, this is kind of going a little bit off for us here. First of all, not people who aren't delusional, people at Dick's House of Sport in Strongsville. Make sure to head out to Dick's House of Sport in Strongsville. It's not just a store, it's a destination. Dick's House of Sport, a proud sponsor of the Land Multimedia Group program. So again, Dick's House of Sport out in Strongsville. Be sure to get out there, check out all the things they have to offer: apparel, shoes, batting, virtual reality batting cages, golf club fittings. They got a field out back. Awesome stuff out there. So be sure to check it all out. I wanted to have a little fun game here.
Mm-hmm.
I got 5 cities / fan groups, and I'd like us to rank them as the worst / most hated fans. Okay. I've come up with 5 now. And if you have an honorable mention, please, we can throw them in.
Are you doing it just cities, or are you including teams within the cities as the 5 you just did?
Well, I think it's kind of it's combined, right? So for example, you've got Boston fan, Celtics, Patriots, Red Sox. You've got Bruins don't move the needle. No, and I'm not. It's just one of those things. Like I should definitely hate them, but I feel like you don't hear much from them.
Well, that's in recent years.
But they're Boston fans. They're always a collective.
They're a collective.
Okay, Michigan fan.
Okay.
Then you've got New York fan. Really, Yankees, Knicks, Giants. If you want to throw the Rangers in there, I didn't include the Jets or the Mets. They're just sad, right? So Yankees, Knicks, Giants, Rangers, New York fan. Pittsburgh, everything. Really, it's just the Steelers.
It's actually quite funny when you think
whatever.
about Pittsburgh. Like, I don't mind the Pirates. Like,
Yeah, I don't mind
Pirates
Pirates
just
fans.
stink.
Is it just because they suck? Is it like, oh, suck?
Yeah, it's just because they suck. They're not relevant. And then you've got like Los Angeles because they're kind of at the front here. We're talking about rich and famous Laker fan and Dodger fan and even the Rams because I don't think they have that great of a fan base. So, like, if you were to try and rank them, guys, who do you think is of those? I've given 5 cities groups.
Mm-hmm.
What's the least worst of those? I would say Los Angeles is the least worst. They're snooty.
The thing is about LA fans are their teams are good, but you don't hear much from them. Like you compare them to New York fans, like it's like there's a big difference between.
No, that's true. I think they're high and mighty. What do you think, Drew? Like,
I go LA last because again, I don't think you hear much about them because a lot of them are plastic fake fans.
Okay, so they're the least worst. They're fake fans.
Yeah,
they're too far away from me. They're on the West Coast. They're like
that is very far. All right,
they're like 8 hours behind in my time zone.
No, that's true. Who would be like the next least worst? I'm trying to get to the last team we name is the worst of the worst.
So we've got New York, Boston, Michigan, Pittsburgh, and LA.
Yeah,
correct.
Okay, Boston.
I would say that to me, Boston is the next least worst.
Yeah,
right.
Like they're a pain in the butt, but the Celtics fan is probably the worst for me because I feel like you hear them, they do a lot of smack talk, right?
And they leave games early when they're fucking losing. They're entitled a little bit.
Yeah. A little bit. All right. Next, I would go. Oh, this is very tough. Very, very difficult at this point.
I know who my one is, but my 2 and my 3 is difficult.
I know who my 1 is too.
All right. I'd love you guys. So taking out your number, I don't know. Mike, who would be next?
Yeah.
My number 1 is New York Skanky fans and New York fans. They're the worst.
New York fan. Okay.
Country Mile.
I think I can agree with that for sure.
But then definitely Pittsburgh and that state that we don't.
I was gonna say number 1 was New York fans.
Yeah, they are the absolute worst.
Well, and you see videos of them like there's a guy wearing another team's jersey and they're trying to like rip it off his back and like jump him and beat him up. And I'm like, first of all, you guys just won a game. And then next thing you know, you're gonna go up to a fan who's really just there to watch a basketball game. I think it was a Philly fan who's just there nonchalantly watching a basketball game, and you're gonna try and rip off his jersey, beat him up, and they've done it so many times before. And it's like, I'm here to watch a game in your city, paying money to go into your city and paying your city money to watch these games. And yet you're going to sit here and try and fight me or rip off my jersey and just like, it makes no sense. Or it's like, what was it? OKC fans last year did it to the mom and the kid when they were leaving it was the Pacers mom and kid, and OKC fans were like trying to beat them up or whatever. It's like, why? Like, you can't just like leave people alone. Is it that hard to just walk away and just leave people alone? They're not even starting anything.
Yeah, New York fans are definitely the worst of the worst. They're the biggest loudmouths I've ever heard. They haven't won squat, and they're all out there.
It's the reason I don't want
What's that?
To win. It's the reason I don't want the Knicks to win. It's not the players.
Exactly.
They're fans.
Yeah, absolutely. So then between Michigan and Pittsburgh, I mean, they're both pretty darn bad. I really loathe.
The cheaters up
I
north.
kind of loathe Michigan more than I loathe Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think I dislike the cheaters up north more. Yeah.
It's tough for me though because
you're right there.
Well, for Michigan, I mean, you see them once a year. At least in college, you see them once a year. Meanwhile, in Pittsburgh, we have so many different sports that we play against each other. Baseball, you have football, and hockey.
That's it. Hockey technically not. Well, I guess Columbus. Yeah, I guess technically you're right. Columbus,
yeah, because it's an Ohio team. But
yeah, I agree. That's a good point. I think Pittsburgh fan is delusional.
And Pittsburgh fan is delusional, yeah. Because, again, when was the last time you heard from a Michigan fan? The last time I heard it was from the Michigan-Ohio State game. That was the last time I heard from a Michigan. True. So you see Pittsburgh fans all the time on Twitter and stuff like that, but you don't see many Michigan fans until the game happens. Or like leading up to the game. So that's where I'm at.
But when the game does happen, which fan base is worse?
Definitely Michigan.
There you go.
But again, it's only a once a year affair.
So bad. But because it is so amplified that one time a year, I think that jumps them ahead of Pittsburgh.
I agree with that.
I mean, and then the Pittsburgh people aren't very well educated. I mean, their cousins. I mean, their husbands, cousins. Why? No, just. No,
I went to Pittsburgh once. And this guy had a ring on his finger, and I said, "How's your sister?"
All right, Drew, come on now. Let's
so if
be nice here, guys.
So if the Browns played the Steelers in the AFC Championship game, yeah, and the Browns lost, and then we played the Wolverines in the National Championship and lost, which fan base would be worse?
Oh, Michigan.
Definitely Michigan. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh,
that's why I'd have them as 2.
Well, there was the other answer is me going to the nearest bridge.
Well, yeah, definitely. No, that's good. That's good. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on these hated fan bases and teams because it's good to re-rank.
What's your guys' thoughts on Philly though? Because they've got to be up there, surely.
They're just obnoxious. They don't bother me.
Annoying.
I don't hear much from them. They're ass clowns.
I think New York fans are a lot louder than Philly fans.
Oh, they always talk when they haven't accomplished jack squat. And I mean, to me, that's the thing. Like Cleveland hasn't done jack squat. I mean, Ohio State is the most consistent team we have. Ohio State football really is the most consistent thing we have going in terms of our rooting interests. But I'm also not going to be an ass to people. That's just not me. And so to see people constantly, especially when the team hasn't done squat, always talking and acting like they're better than everybody else is just annoying. And seeing a bunch of fake fans, especially in New York, I mean, that's ridiculous. People love the Wolverines. I mean, that no doubt. But they're crazy when they were getting their butts kicked for like 9 years in a row or the best part of a decade. And then until they started cheating. And now it looks like they're going to be in a world of hurt now.
Well, here's the real question. Do Michigan fans know what a Wolverine is?
Probably not.
I don't think they do.
They may not. Although, it's a pretty good school.
I guarantee you they think they're named after the X-Men Wolverine.
Oh, yeah. They might have. They might, at least this generation of students.
Yeah, not the animal.
Not the animal. Honey Badger don't care. All right. So with all of that, guys, I think that we have been running a while. I think it's time to tell everybody what has us going nuclear. Now, Drew, I know you made a great comment earlier, but I'm going to give the floor to everybody. Mike G, why don't you start out by telling us what has you going nuclear?
Do you have about an hour to go through this?
No, we don't. You're going to have to pick out what has you most going nuclear.
Do you not? It's the World Cup next week, right?
Yep.
Yes.
And what me goes going nuclear is FIFA being a bunch of money grubbing assholes.
Yeah.
Have you heard the latest coming out about
the water bottles?
The water bottle scandal, yeah. Have you heard about this?
They used to be able to bring an empty water bottle into the stadium, and now they're not allowing you to bring an empty water bottle into the stadium.
They decided today that they're banning fans from taking water bottles due to safety concerns, basically, of fans throwing bottles on the field. But the weather, people are going to need to stay hydrated, and they're going to be charging $5.99 per bottle of water. And it's a disgrace, in my opinion, because someone's probably going to end up flipping, unfortunately, having that.
Well, the nice thing is some of these stadiums, like the Cavs Arena, the Guardian Stadium, whatever, they have refillable water bottle stations. So you could just buy a one water bottle and just go to the water fountain and just put it under the thing and just have it refilled every time you go back. So.
It's just money grabbing again from this whole entire World Cup, and I think it's a disgrace. And then someone's going to have a turn for the worst because they don't have any water and they stay hydrated. It's ridiculous. Like,
yeah, I agree.
It's a plastic bottle without a lid. Most football stadiums, the rules in the UK and stuff, you can't take a lid to your seat anyway on the drink. You have to remove it. So that should just be the rule. Like, you can bring in your water bottle, but it has to be plastic because they don't want it to be like metal.
Sure. Yeah, they gotta let you bring one of those big old tumblers.
Exactly. So it's like just have it as a plastic water bottle. You have to remove the lid. Like, but it's a money thing.
Yeah. That's a good one. That is a good one. Drew?
So I'm gonna stick with the World Cup vibe, but I'm actually going more towards the fans of the World Cup.
Okay, go for it.
Because here's my problem, and this is no dig at the UK or anything else. But my issue right now are fans who are pressed because FIFA came out and said in the US with obviously lightning and whatnot that goes on in the US, we're going to pause matches. Obviously, it's Ethan, it's a normal commodity here in any sport, whether it's the NFL, whether it's baseball or soccer. It's a commonality that if there's lightning, I believe it's within 5 to 7 miles away from the stadium, you're forced to pause because, again, 2 years ago in the DR Congo, 5 players have passed away due to lightning because, again, they were wearing metal studs, and the lightning strike killed them. Same thing in 1998. There was another match, I believe it was in Panama, where a whole side, a full 11, passed away on the pitch in the middle of a game once the lightning struck. Again, metal boots, lightning strike cause. And again, you got to think, a lot of these guys have metal interchangeable studs on their cleats. So half of them are rubber, half of them are those interchangeable ones in case like the ground's wet or something, they can change it to longer studs for better grip. So they're upset, and I know I see a lot of fans, especially from like Europe, whatever, like, oh, it's so crazy that they're going to pause matches because of lightning. Or it's like, do you not care about player safety? Do you not care about fan? Because there's some places in those stadiums where it's metal seating and stuff. Do you not care about your own safety watching a match? Do you want to get electrocuted and die? Like,
the biggest problem about this though is there's no actual protocol of how long the delays can be, because obviously it's always 30 minutes, and then if there's another lightning strike within the area, the 30 minutes gets tacked on. It restarts. It's 8 miles, and it's 8 mile radius from the stadium, and it's 40 minutes every time. There's no actual protocol for how many hours the game can be delayed before.
Right.
But again, but the thing is too is you can't control the weather, so it's not.
My point is, after 5 hours of delays, that's not a call. There's no call for how many hours.
That's the thing is, what are you going to do though? Well, you're not going to postpone the match and move it to the next day or something.
I think that
there has to be a call. You can't expect there to be like a 12-hour delay for if it keeps on going on. You know what I mean? There needs to be an outlay of how many hours that can be delayed, but there isn't.
And I hate to, and no, I understand what, and Drew, that's a great going nuclear right there. I think the bigger issue is the scheduling of the matches and where the games are being played and the timing. I do wonder, the last time the U.S. hosted the World Cup, were there any lightning delays?
No.
Is what? Okay.
I don't think there's a singular lightning delay.
It's possible.
We had the Club World Cup.
This is going to be much ado about
the Club World Cup had one lightning delay, but that was before the match even began. And
there was like 5. There was 5 games that had delays because I watched every single game, and there was like 5 different games that had delays. But
okay, so it's possible this could happen.
But I will say too, half of the matches too are going to be indoors regardless, anyways. So
right, no, and I think that the key is just like, if you're planning on playing certain games in certain places, that's where you'd want to have it have it an enclosed facility so that you didn't have to worry about that. And I think they'll be all right. Let's hope this is not a problem. And to your point, Mike, about the water bottle, the other issue I could see is people trying to sneak in like vodka or something. I would hope they'd have to have a rule like it's a sealed bottle coming into the thing. Like it can't be cracked at all or whatever it is. They should do, I think there's got to be a happy medium between not allowing them at all and allowing them. There's got to be something.
What they should do is just provide water. Like it's not exactly.
Well, yeah. Yeah, no, I think that you should get a souvenir cup and be able to go and fill and
you go to a baseball game, yeah, and you get all these bobbleheads and stuff, yeah. You turn up early, you get your bobblehead, yeah.
Yeah.
Why can't they just give out a $1 bottle of water to every fan? Like it's not difficult. Is it?
Oh, because then they would be losing money.
But, come on, it's people's safety. Like, hydration's king. It's important.
See, me and Mike care about the community. We care about safety of everybody. Our going nuclear is a positive. We're going for safety.
Okay, well, you can go for safety, but you know what has me going nuclear? What has me going nuclear is happening right in front of us, right in front of our faces right now.
Sleep, mate. They're going to be getting those.
The freaking Vegas Knights.
Yeah, maybe.
Seeing a team that's been around for, this is their 9th season, and this is their 3rd Stanley Cup final. Yep. They've won one, lost one, and they're up 2-0 in game number 2, already ahead 1-0 over Carolina, and they just got in. They barely got in to the playoff. So to watch a team like the Vegas Knights, who have no business, they haven't suffered enough. They have not suffered enough to be winning this much. How frustrating is that? We're long-suffering fans.
The Blue Jackets have more legacies of wins than the bloody Vegas, and the Vegas are in the Stanley Cup Finals. The Blue Jackets are watching from home. They had 40 wins in the legacies. Vegas had 39.
Exactly. Absolutely. So to watch a team like the Vegas Knights, it is everything I hate. It is absolutely, you've got a fake fan base. You got a bunch of like people who aren't like native to Las Vegas. I will say they like them better than they like the Raiders. The Raiders are truly a lost cause in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
that was a NBA team joining Vegas next.
Right, and you're gonna have, and I just, there are not that many people. How many people are native to Las Vegas that are in Las Vegas?
Not that many.
Most of them come from other places to like retire there and be in the sweltering heat and go to the casinos. So the Vegas Knights, an expansion team, 3rd Stanley Cup in 9 seasons, and they're looking pretty darn good. They're on a run. They are on quite the roll, and if I have to see them celebrate, at least they're far away and I can ignore them, but it's still frustrating. It is still frustrating. They don't reach the level of other annoying fans, but it's certainly annoying when we are long-suffering fans over here and our teams can't manage to get to the finals or win the championships in various sports. It's a real kick in the crotch. And with that is what has me going nuclear. So, fellas, it's been a good one. We've been going a little over an hour and a half here. We've certainly lasted a long time tonight, so we want to thank everybody who has tuned in for us tonight. Be sure to check us out, catch us on all the social media, and we'll be back again next week. Next week will we be talking some World Cup?
Absolutely.
If we come on, so we'll be right at, like, the World Cup starts Thursday, right?
Yeah, this is the only benefit for me, though. Like, if the Knicks and the Vegas do win those 2 cups, is that the World Cup basically starts on Thursday next week, and the Knicks, if they would sweep on Thursday, I think it is.
Sounds
that's
about
okay,
right,
because I'm going to be watching Mexico, South Africa, baby.
My mind will just be all on the World Cup, and because I don't live in America, I won't have all the TV people talking about it, and I'll just be so focused on the World Cup.
Hey, we'll be ready. We'll be focused on mandatory minicamp.
What's the coverage like in the US generally for a World Cup?
Well, I wasn't alive for the last one. So
no, US, I mean, a normal World Cup. I mean, generally, like every 4 years.
We had to listen to Alexia Lawless and Taylor Twellman talk on Fox Soccer. Or Fox
does it take over?
In general, Mike,
does it take over the talk?
It's not. It's not wall to wall. No, absolutely not.
It doesn't.
You get the coverage while the games are on. There's a little bit of there's probably barely any talk about it other than highlights on like ESPN Sports Center. And unless the US starts to do something, which they're not going to.
If the Knicks do unfortunately win the title,
That would get more press in the World
He'll
Cup.
get more press in the World Cup.
Yep.
That's unfortunate.
Absolutely. Oh, it is. It's very unfortunate. So, fellas, I want to say thank you again. As always, a pleasure. And we will be back next week with more of Going nuCLEar, full-blown coverage of the LAN right here, part of the LAN Multimedia Group.